If I can just make a couple of introductory comments. This is George Williamson. I'm a local planner, still hanging around with Plan West Partners, but part-time. And I joined the Life Plan Humboldt Board of Directors because I qualify as a senior these days. So I want to start planning my future. It's a whole different kind of planning that I've spent my career doing, but this is planning for me, which is good. And so our board of directors has come together for this purpose. We're a nonprofit. We're led by Dr. Ann Lindsay, our board chair, president, and we've got people like Patrick Cleary and Kirk Gerard and Greg Orsini, Joanne Such, who you'll hear from a little bit later, who's on our board, and then Patty Berg, and a number of others that are really all dedicated. So we're making good progress and have hired some incredibly good talent, including Laura Kadlicek. So I'm just wanted to make that introduction. I'm gonna have to leave at about 12:30 to head up to Crescent City, but take it away, Laura.
Hey, great. Thanks, George. Thanks, Joanne, for jumping on. And greetings, everyone that's on the call. My name's Laura Kadlicek, and I'm representing Life Plan Humboldt as their owner's project representative and project manager. I've been on board for a couple months now, so we are excited to share the progress that we've made over the past year or so. I'm going to share my screen. And let's see here. Adjust the screen here.
Do the slideshow and start, or far left, play from start.
Yep.
Click slideshow again, Laura, and then go underneath it to the far left. And just click on the slideshow like you were doing. Is it turning off?
Yeah, it didn't do quite the same. Let's see.
Right there. So click on that and then go down below and go all the way to the left. No, just right below it. And all the way to the left, all the way to the left. And it says play from start. There you go.
Okay, thank you.
And then switch the view on the top.
There we go. Okay. All right, well, this is our presentation to the California chapter of the APA Northern Section. And it is May 14th, 2024. And Life Plan Humboldt is a local nonprofit organization engaged in local grassroots efforts to create the first resident-led, aging-in-place life plan community for active older adults on the North Coast. And a lot of folks might ask, what does Life Plan Humboldt propose? You may have seen our signs out on the property on Hiller Road, or folks tabling in front of the co-op or other grocery stores and other venues holding events, fundraising events at various locations. And what the project proposes to do is to construct an independent living in cottages and apartments that offers on-site assistance if needed while you're living there, as well as assisted living and innovative memory care units, a maintenance-free lifestyle for residents, including dining, activities, and amenities, and the ability to stay close to friends and family in our beautiful Humboldt County area. And accomplishments to date is that Life Plan Humboldt is in escrow on approximately 14.6 acres in McKinleyville, just across from the McKinleyville Town Center on the south side of Hiller Road, just west of Central. And we recently we became affiliated with Kendall Corporation, which is a leading national not-for-profit organization of communities, programs, and services for senior living. And the initial agreement with we also have an initial agreement with the Rural Community Housing Corporation to allocate a portion of the site for affordable senior housing. And you'll see that on our site plan. I'll point that out. We've also hired a team of architects and engineers, environmental scientists, cultural resource specialists, and other consultants for planning and development services. And to date, we've attracted more than 1,326 subscribers to our web-based updates and newsletter, 566 survey respondents with over 70%, which is about 400, indicating that they are likely or very likely to consider moving into the Life Plan Humboldt project campus, and a well-attended architect-led design charrette, which was great. We held that at the Hospice of Humboldt property and had a really very active participation there that I'll present some of the outcomes in not this slide, but the next. So here we have our project site. You can see this is central McKinleyville here in the center of the slide, and Hiller going off to the west here, and the property project boundary showing here in red. Here's the McKinleyville Shopping Center area here. And lots of, one of the things that I think the project is really great about this location is its proximity to the airport, to all the amenities that are in McKinleyville, which are quite numerous. The club is shown here, and also parking. There's open door community health centers. Offices are just to the south of here. Of course, it's right near the junction of 299 and 101. So quite local in the northern part of the county, quite well located. So our design charrette process, which took place in January, was a pretty interactive event. And one of the activities that participants were involved in was trying to come up with terms that represented the project vision. So here you can see some of the priority characteristics of the project vision. Of course, it needs to be viable, right in the center, but also these other post-its showing in green represent the priorities that folks felt that the project should have, which it's should be close to nature and the outdoors, should be sustainable, be obviously representative of wellness, and be engaging, be focused on the community, be inclusive, also have involved with the external community. It should be village-like and home-like. On the engaging front, there should be music and fun, should be vibrant and stimulating. On the wellness front, it should be innovative, healthy aging, quality care, continued learning, and quality of life. On the sustainable side, the term biophilia came up several times, loving of nature or loving of biology. It should be green and warm. There should be rooms, in and outdoor rooms, organic, it should be somewhat like a sanctuary, quiet, grief support, spacious, respectful, reflection, meditative. It should be inclusive and supportive, accessible, seamless with the community. So these are kind of the concepts that have been driving the design with our architects. So the architects also brought together a number of visuals for us to comment on and prioritize as a group. And these that are shown are the ones that the group liked the most. So you can see the connection to the outdoors, large awnings that allow people to be outside while protected from the elements, spaces that are connected, indoor, outdoor, the gathering spaces on the outside. Here's our local Padua Health Village clip here on the bottom here, showing, you know, the nature around the buildings, and gathering places outside that are adjacent to eating and locations in the building. So you get the idea, I think. And in the center upper left is kind of the conceptual, very preliminary conceptual site plan. So of that, on the property site, the architects started locating the cottages, which are shown on the left side here as little duplexes. And that there you can see this arrow is kind of going through the entire property, trying to design in a connectivity of the various units through a natural area. So the other thing I should have mentioned is that in this area here where my cursor is, there is a almost 1 acre seasonal wetland located here. So that kind of gets to be the centerpiece of the site planning and a benefit to the site. And the architects have used that to build the rest of the structures around in order to be able to have that indoor-outdoor feel. The other element that's real strong on the site plan is this roadway running north to south. It's actually a county road that will be built here that connects the subdivision, the residential subdivision here to the south, and Hiller Road and the shopping center to the north. So I'm going to move to the next slide to show the next version of this. So there you can see the elements that I've already mentioned in a little bit more organized fashion. Here's Nursery Way, the county road that I just mentioned. And then on the far east side, on the upper left corner, is a proposed property line that would delineate the affordable housing parcel. So here you can see parking and a building associated with the affordable housing. The proposal is for 50 units here to be able to be rented to seniors at this location at affordable prices. So as I said before, we're working with Redwood Community Housing to develop that with them. And then the rest of the property would be owned and operated by Life Plan Humboldt. And it has shown here 39 cottages. Some of them are connected to two in couplets of 2 and 3. So some on the far west side, and then a group on the east side, just below the affordable housing. And then in the center of the property, the independent living apartment building would be located. This would be is proposed at this stage to be a 3 stories on the west side where my cursor is, and then 2 stories on the east side. And that's because there's a grade break. You can see the topo behind here, dropping off to the west. So those are proposed to have 144 units in this 2.5, 3-story structure. And on the first floor, there would be, of those 144, there would be 12 memory care units. These are shown here on this location, and then 12 assisted living on the first floor. So things to point out here is just really the connection between the outdoors and the indoors and outdoors that, for example, the memory care and assisted living house units would have, to a memory care garden and assisted living garden in the center. And certainly the cottages have access to open space. And you can see that trails are connecting the various structures and wrap around the proposed wetland area. There's also parking, of course, proposed. We've got more than ample parking here at the moment, showing more than at least as much as required. And then on the very far south, you can see some storage sheds called out that would be for storing items that residents would have that don't fit in their house, like kayaks or boats, and bicycles, and other things that are large that they would want to store. So what else can I point out here? This area here, where my cursor is the area where generators would be located. We've also been exploring solar PV and battery backup systems that would likely be co-located. A bike trail is proposed to exist on the eastern portion, running south to north, north to south. That's on an existing trail easement. And on the northern portion would also function, although it's not clearly shown here, but function as a fire, emergency fire exit. Okay, I didn't talk about the off-leash dog park shown here on the east side. But I think you get the idea of the visual kind of green space that that connects the whole property as a whole. So even though a portion of it is dedicated and will be owned and operated by the rural community housing group, the look and the feel of it would be contiguous throughout. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next slide to update you on our entitlement process. So the project site is within the McKinleyville Town Center rezone project, which is currently underway, and which proposes to establish a mixed-use based zoning and a Q-zone overlay. The rezone project is being analyzed within an EIR by the EMC Planning Group of Monterey. And once approved, it will allow subsequent development to occur without further environmental review. And this includes the Life Plan Humboldt project. So other entitlements that we're working on would be a wetland modification and parcel maps, because part of that is involves a wetland fill. We would do a section 404 from the Army Corps and a section 401 water quality certification from the RWQCB. And of course, we need to get a building and grading permit from Humboldt County. And we've prepared lots of studies to date. Already over a year ago, Life Plan Humboldt has engaged GHD to do a wooded area assessment technical memo and aquatic resources delineation report, an ALTA survey with Kelly O'Hearn, a draft wetland habitat mitigation and monitoring plan, and botanical survey and report also from GHD. William Rich did the cultural resources investigation just earlier this year. In progress, we have SHN doing groundwater monitoring. And as mentioned, EMC is working on the environmental impact report, and that's actually for the county. They're under contract for that, although Life Plan Humboldt is party to that. And our expected entitlement study schedule is that on the EIR side, we hope to have an administrative draft out in August. We hope that EMC has an administrative draft out in August, and we'll be working in parallel on our section 404 and 401 wetland permits. Hopefully have those submitted and some feedback by September. I'm not sure that they'll be actually permitted by then, but they'll be well underway. The draft EIR is expected to come out in October. In parallel, we'll be working on our parcel maps, which we hope to have completed in November, and that would allow Life Plan Humboldt to give the rural community housing an option agreement on their parcel so that they can start proceeding on their independent project in collaboration with us. And we hope to see a final EIR in January and have that go before the Humboldt County Planning Commission in February and the Board of Supervisors in March, and have it certified by April. And then we'll really kick into the construction drawings with our design team and have them submit sometime later in late 2025 so that we can have a building permit in hand by January 2026. And so the Life Plan Humboldt team that is working to make this vision a reality is the Life Plan Humboldt Board of Directors, which George mentioned. And of course, myself, serving as project manager. For Life Plan Humboldt, the Kendall Corporation and Greenbrier Development are the operations and financier affiliates that also have their own project managers that I'm working closely with. Schillinger Engineering has been doing our civil work. Perkins Eastman Architects out of San Francisco is our architectural design team lead. We're just getting all of the structural, mechanical, and electrical plumbing teams on board under them. And GHD has been doing our wetlands and biological resources, SHN, our groundwater monitoring to date, and as mentioned, the William Rich Associates did our cultural resources. At this point, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Joanne. Joanne, can you hear and want to test your mic quick?
Yeah, I can hear and see you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound great. So
Okay, great.
just let me know when you want me to turn the slide.
Okay, I'm in the Target parking lot. It's very exciting. Life Plan Humboldt is a life plan community, and those used to be called continuing care retirement communities, but they've been kind of renamed and changed a little bit since they initially started in the 60s. We have a nonprofit board that's responsible for the campus. The way these work is that residents will pay an entry fee, which is a fairly large fee that ensures lifelong residence. And usually people raise that kind of money by selling a home where their equity is tied up. And generally speaking, people will, there's a number of different contracts. People will take the contract where it's 80% refundable for the entry fee. The on-site staff will handle the administration and the marketing and the management and the services. This is not a home ownership deal. There's no property tax or insurance to deal with. It's more like assurance of care, kind of insurance on having a community that's around them and supportive, and one that can help people in a active and positive way to age with community around them. Next one. So the monthly fee helps pay for things like the internet. There's usually a meal plan that's kind of, you get a certain number of points, and there are on-campus restaurants and to-go shops where you can buy food. Helps people get together. It also helps have a variety of food available. One thing that my friends who are getting older, not me, but them, have mentioned is that it's harder to cook. You get a little bored with cooking, and that when you move into a life plan community, there's a greater variety of food, and it's more of a social event, going out to eat sometimes, seeing other people and having that kind of contact. Life plan communities also do all the maintenance outside the building and inside the business building, so inside your home. So if something breaks or the roof is leaking, you just call maintenance. It's not a problem. You don't have to find somebody to do the work, and you don't have to, it's part of what you're paying for. There's housekeeping services, generally speaking, at places. They might come and do light cleaning a couple times a month, or some of the heavier laundry. The life plan homes have full kitchens and washer and dryer, but people sometimes like to turn over some of the stuff that's a little harder to the management and let them do it. Lifetime communities have a lot of amenities and activities. There are classes, there are exercise, there's art studios, usually there's a wood shop. There are places where people can get together and do music. We've got a big fabric arts community here that wants a fabric art studio. It's generally a place where people can choose to be as active as they want. They can get out and be around people, or they can, have a quieter life if they want to. But everything is much closer. I was instrumental in starting a group called Redwood Coast Village, which coordinated volunteer help for seniors in their homes. And we would pick people up and take them to medical appointments and help around the house. And what I was seeing was that even though people were aging in houses that they really loved, they were getting more and more isolated. And I was a caregiver for my mother and father, and saw them be in a neighborhood that first they depended on a lot, and then people moved away. And when the time came, it really was hard for them to get help. So the advantages of living in a life plan community is you have all the social connections, you have healthy food and environment, and you have the lots of things to do, and a whole bunch of people who are there to help if you need help. There's also things like transportation. So many people will have their own cars, but we're also talking about getting a zip car type of thing where you can reserve it. And a message popped up there. And also there would probably be some kind of bus service or driving service to help. So I can't see the chat. So if you can tell me what the chat questions are, that would be great.
Sure, Joanna. And we'll take care of that at the very end.
At the end. Okay, great. The other thing is that one thing I find is the people who are most committed to working on this project, and it is hugely volunteer project, the board, and we have like 70 volunteers who have become ambassadors, and really great support from the community. Most of the people involved in this project have either been caregivers or they've been in the medical field. So the idea of trying to help people with medical management is really strong in this community. Ann Lindsay, of course, was the county doctor, medical official here. Her husband, Alan Glasseroff, And we have a number of nurses and doctors and retired people who all understand how the medical system works. So there would be things like helping people figure out their appointments. And we were also talking about telemedicine, supporting that. And there's some, basic kind of levels of care, but we will not have a nurse or a doctor on staff. We are trying to work with Open Door and St. Joe's to form a home healthcare service for seniors in the McKinleyville area. So there's a lot of layers of things happening to support this. And one of the reasons I'm so committed to this project is I think that it will influence senior care all across the county, especially a rural county. We're going to try to do things with memory care and assisted living that are going to be a little more human-centered. And I think that's really going to raise the standard across the board. Okay, next one. There we are. 70 plus committed volunteers have loved over 4,000 hours. We have 300 donors. We've had donations from foundations and raised a great deal of money that really impressed our outside partners on this. Next one. So we're good for older adults. As I said, it ensures healthy nutrition for residents, avoids skilled nursing placement by offering PACE-like services. And if you're not familiar with the world of senior care, the idea of PACE is to help people stay out of the skilled nursing facilities, especially the local ones, which are borderline criminal, by giving them the kind of assistance that helps them live in their own homes, but provides a little bit more attention than they'd get from just having to go to the doctor themselves. So people who are on dialysis who might otherwise have to go into skilled nursing can still live at home and gets support from nurses that come in and other professionals from like PACE-like services. It provides residents economic stability and reduced worry. The other thing I noticed when I was picking people up, seniors from their homes, is that a lot of them couldn't afford to hire help because their money was tied up in their homes. So, the homes are the major investment for most of us. If you have a pension and you have a home, this helps you be in a place where that money is being used for your care, and not necessarily something that you can only leave to your heirs later without them having a chance to have assistance with taking care of an older adult in the family. We're going to have memory care in an innovative setting on the same campus. I talked about that a little bit. It's real human-centered care, and part of it is the architecture of the facility. It's like a 12 like single individual units. Each person would have their own room and their own bedroom and their own door they could close. It's arranged in a home-like setting, so it's around a kitchen and a dining room, and people can interact, and it would open up to a garden area that would be fenced for memory care so that people could be outside and walk around but still be safe. And we're also talking about using the idea of brain health for the whole campus. So, when I spoke about music and good nutrition, those are some of the things that help people keep their memory and keep their brain health. Next slide, please. Oh, fuck. I'm sorry. This is I can't see the screen because somebody has sent me a text. All right, I'm off the screen. Oh God, can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
All right, I'm trying to find the Zoom link. When someone sends a text, it blocks the entire screen. Hopefully this is it. All right, I got it. God, I feel so competent for an art major. Okay, so one of when I first was introduced to the idea of continuing care retirement centers or life plan, I thought this is crazy. It's just, you know, way too expensive. But after taking care of my mom and my dad for 5 years, it really does cost money to get older in this society. So it took me away from the work that I did. I could not afford to work full time because I was a full-time caregiver for my parents. And that really cut down on my income and my Social Security. So having a place that is healthy for everybody, where people are happy and you get some assistance with your family members, it helps be predictable expenses for the residents and the loved ones. Family can more easily continue to work without interruption. Nonprofit communities can provide financial assistance to residents who need it if they outlive their financial resources. So when you become a member of Life Plan Humboldt, if you were to live for 25, 30 years and outlive your resources, the community would not move you out. There would be a foundation. Typically, there are foundation grants and things that keep people in their homes in the community. Okay, next slide. So the future goals is that we are working on locking in the financing of the project, which is, as you folks probably know, it's a many-stage process of getting pricing and figuring out the viability of the community and being able to take the promise of a certain number of residents to the bond market. We're going to start a future residence list with $1,000 deposits that are fully refundable. And that, just as people who are very serious about moving in will get more information about the project as it moves forward. We're opening up a Welcome Center office in McKinleyville that'll be on Hartwood, right around the corner from the facility. We're going to complete the environmental impact report, and pre-sales should start next year. And the way we do this is 10% deposits on the entry fee. And that guarantees that you are picking out the space that you want to live in. That is also fully refundable because after we get enough of those 10% deposits, that's when we can get the bond financing. And the architects will be completing the plans for the community, and that's when construction can start. So we're projected, if we can start construction, we would have, it takes about 2 years to do the construction on the project. So we're looking at 2027 to 2028 for the buildings to be completed and for people to come in initially. Next slide. And we have a website. It's lifeplanhumboldt.org. When you go there, there is a move-in survey that I would suggest, if you're interested in this, you take it. You can say the kind of things you're looking for and you want. You can see projected prices there, and you can indicate whether you're interested in the community, but it'll tell you a lot more about it. We are on Facebook also. That's a pretty active Facebook account, and Instagram. So thank you. Questions for both of us? Any of us?
Yeah, so first of all, someone asked about the slides being available, and if Laura, I can put your information in there, they can contact you directly regarding that.
Yes, you can do that.
Okay. One of the questions that was asked was about hospice care. So going from independent living to assisted living and then hospice. Is Life Plan Humboldt offering something similar, or would hospice be brought in, or? So
most of the time, the way we're looking at this is that people would have their individual residences, and that if they needed some small amounts of assistance, like someone coming in to help them shower or bathe, they could do that in small increments without having to leave their home. People can move into assisted living if it became a very serious and they needed 24-hour care. And hospice, of course, will come into any of those situations. So hospice is a separate organization, but they would come in and provide the kind of end-of-life care that they're really good at. But they would be part of this process.
those were the two questions. we had. This is an exciting program. I learned a
Yes.
lot. Thank you for sharing all this. So,
It's a huge endeavor, and Laura's been really great, and really appreciate her being on board. And the local firms that have worked with us have been fantastic.
It's a great vision, and it's an honor to be working on the Life Plan Humboldt Board direction to help them fulfill their vision. So just stay tuned with us as we move through our entitlement process and design process. And thanks for having us.
and thank you for joining us. And again, as I mentioned, this was recorded and is going to be on our YouTube, North Coast AEP APA. So stay tuned. Well, thank you again. We'll see everyone around.